Taehyung finally opens his voice, but not with ordinary words. He revealed something that he had only hidden, something that even the army had never imagined. But who exactly did Taehyung mean? Jungkook? Or someone he had been hiding in his heart for so long? And the last message from Jungkook, is it a sign or a farewell? Taehyung reveals his heart. Army did not expect this confession. Is this for Jungkook? Taehyung opens up. His confession left Army speechless. Jungkook left a touching message. If I'm honest now, everything will change. The sentence sounded slowly, but loud enough to make the room that was originally filled with silence suddenly feel like collapsing. Taehyung, with unusual eyes, not charismatic, not funny, not mysterious, but fragile and real. The interview was recorded in a completely different atmosphere. Not a grandiose studio, not a shooting location filled with spotlights. Just a simple room, white walls, and one camera that captures something that can't be replayed. An honest confession from a BTS feed, and that's where it all started. What exactly did Taehyung keep all this time? Why did he suddenly talk about something that he had been hiding even from BTS members? And the biggest question in the heads of all the armies, why does his confession feel too deep, too personal, too like for Jungkook? I don't want to hurt anyone. But I'm also tired of pretending to be happy all the time, she continued, and her left hand seemed to tremble, as if it wanted to hold on to something she had long wanted to get out. Is it about pressure as a global idol? Is it about a personal relationship that cannot be described by the word friendship? Or is it about something only two people know, him and Jungkook? The army was immediately shaken. Jungkook said, if one day I'm ready to talk, he'll listen without judgment. That sentence fell softly from Taehyung's lips, as if every word he said carried the weight of years. Wait. Jungkook said, is that so? Does this mean that Taehyung's confession is something Jungkook has always known or even experienced? And more than that, does it have to do with the touching message Jungkook left some time ago on Weverse? The army remembers. Jungkook wrote a short but thrilling message. There are things we cannot change, even if our hearts want to try. But at least, we can choose to be honest, even if it's late. That sentence was then taken for granted. But now, after Taehyung's emotional confession, many have begun to connect it like puzzle pieces that have been scattered without meaning. Did Taehyung and Jungkook ever have anything more than what they seem? Have they ever kept something so big but unspeakable because of the camera's glare, agency rules, and the expectation of millions of pairs of eyes? When asked if he was talking about someone in particular, Taehyung was not evasive. But he didn't answer directly either. He just lowered his head and smiled a small, bitter smile, as if keeping the name on the tip of his tongue but choosing to keep it a secret. But the camera records everything. And Taehyung's eyes, for the first time, couldn't lie. Sometimes I miss speaking honestly, without fear of being misunderstood. Is it about him that all this time had to hide his affection for someone? Has he ever wanted to say something but always failed because fear broke the balance? And is that someone Jungkook? When the video was replayed, the army found something that gave their hair goosebumps. At the end of the interview, Taehyung mentions one short sentence that is not an answer but a hint. If he sees this, I hope he knows. I never change. Him. Who is the he Taehyung is referring to? Why wasn't the confession made immediately? And why does the impression left behind feel like a final message that was never delivered when it should have been? The day after the video appeared, Jungkook uploaded a photo of the night sky.
No captions.
There is no emoji. Just the sky. But the army does not need words. They know it's no ordinary sky. It is the sky that holds secrets. I asked this how they talk. In silence, Taehyung's confession became something that shook the fandom down to the roots. The army, which is usually accustomed to all forms of fan service, this time was completely made silent. This is not a fan service. This is not content for sale. It is a wound that is opened, a heart that is shown. And what kept the army from sleeping that night the most was the realization that perhaps all along they had missed something important. Something that can only be understood if we look deeper, listen more honestly, and feel more sensitively. If I could turn back time, I wouldn't let that distance grow. Taehyung says, staring blankly into the camera. Distance? What distance? Is Taehyung and Jungkook's relationship bad? Or is it about a decision that was once made and is now regretted? There are so many questions, and none of them are answered unambiguously. But therein lies its strength. This recognition does not need to be explained, because the taste is enough to make everyone understand. And as night turns to morning, the army begins to realize that what is happening is no ordinary drama. This is not gossip. It's part of the lives of two humans trapped in a glittering world that never gives them room to be completely honest. Taehyung has spoken. Jungkook has already signaled. But will the two of them have the courage to meet each other and heal old wounds that have not yet had time to heal? Or will they remain two shining stars in their respective orbits, looking at each other but never able to touch each other? And one last question that still resonates in everyone's head. Is Taehyung's heart really for Jungkook? Or precisely for someone we never expected? The silence that enveloped the ARMY community when Taehyung's confession video aired seemed not just because of shock, but because the entire BTS universe that had been full of color suddenly turned monochrome dark, honest, and devastating. There's something different this time. Taehyung is not promoting an album, not playing a character, nor is he providing a sweet fan service. This is an inner voice, the sound that has been muffled by music, by cheers, by such a magnificent stage, but sometimes does not provide a place for real sadness. And what makes everything shake even more is time. Why is this confession coming now? Why not when they're still together? Why not when Taehyung, the nickname of love from the fans, still often appears in the camera spotlight, joking with each other, looking at each other as if there are no boundaries? This question continues to haunt every fan. Is there too much going on behind the scenes that the outside world doesn't know about? Taehyung mentioned that there were times when he felt like he was losing himself. Loss of direction. I can no longer sing from my heart. A very surprising statement, considering that Taehyung always appears confident, strong, and full of charm on stage. I sing love songs, but I don't know who I'm talking to. That speech made millions of ARMY hearts crack. Does this mean that all this time he faked emotions on stage? Or did he sing those songs to someone he could never express? And is that someone Jungkook? Jungkook, who had always seemed close to her. Jungkook often shares moments of laughter, but has also been seen looking down backstage as Taehyung weeps silently. Jungkook, who has been disappearing from social media more and more recently, seemed to have something he wanted to avoid. Their last meeting in front of the camera was even awkward. No hugs. There is no long gaze. Just a formality. Just a smile that feels too forced. And now, when Taehyung's confession video is released, ARMY begins to realize perhaps their breakup happened long before they stopped performing together. But why did Taehyung have to keep it to himself all this time? I once wanted to say everything, but I'm scared. Fear makes everything more complicated, he says softly. The word fear resonated. For someone as strong as Taehyung, the word is not just a weakness. It was a wound. Wounds from choices are never truly free. ARMY began to look for clues, rewatching old moments, looking for honesty that might be hidden behind their smiles. And they found one moment that now feels different. BTS, last concert before their hiatus. Taehyung looks at Jungkook for a long time as the song Spring Day is played. Not an empty look, but the gaze of someone who wants to talk, but chooses silence. Was it supposed to be a confession night? Did that night, when all the ARMY sang together, have a single heart trying to speak amid a sea of voices? And did Jungkook hear it? Because a few days after the concert, Jungkook uploaded a short video of himself playing the piano. The melody played is not an official song. No title, but the tone is sad. And at the end of the video, she looks at the camera, tired eyes, but as if to say, I hear you. Is this their covert communication? Have they been speaking through tone, through gaze, through lyrics, because words are too dangerous to say? More and more armies are starting to tie all of this to one point, that perhaps their relationship isn't just a friendship. Probably, there are more complicated, deeper, and more fragile emotions. Not an ordinary love story, but the story of two people who care too deeply for each other in a world that does not allow that depth to be freely expressed. Jungkook, if you see this, I just want you to know, I'm staying here. That was the last sentence of Taehyung's confession video. That "stay here" word, to some, sounds like hope. But to the sensitive army, that sounds like an appointment that may come too late, and the biggest surprise is not over yet. Hours after the video aired, Jungkook Delhi. The Seoul sky that night seemed darker than usual, as if absorbing the emotional energy of the millions of army who were fixated on staring at the screen, watching Taehyung's confession video over and over again. No background music. There is no artistic lighting. Only Taehyung, sitting in a room with a faint yellow light, spoke as if he were writing a letter that was never sent, and precisely because of that simplicity, every word that came out of his mouth felt like an emotional bomb that could not be prevented from exploding. I never wanted to hurt anyone, but I can't keep hiding this either. I've been pretending for too long.
Pretend?
Hiding what? The question now resonated in ARMY's hearts, teasing deeper than anything they had ever heard before. Was all the laughter and hugs during this time a shield? Is that seemingly perfect friendship just some kind of compromise so as not to create an even bigger storm? I'm scared because I know who gets hurt when I talk. That sentence makes everything even more terrible and sad at the same time. Is this confession about a love that can never be confessed? Is it about feelings that can't be defined, let alone justified? Dan, who will be hurt? Is that Jungkook? Is it the army? Or himself? Those who have followed Taehyung since the beginning know that he is not the kind of person who easily shares personal things. Even when he lost his beloved grandmother, he still looked professional, hiding tears behind a sweet smile. This time, however, he had nothing to hide. Her eyes turned red, her voice trembled, and her body shrank every now and then, like a child begging for the world to be less cruel to her feelings. And when he said that name, he knows, before I even realized it myself. For a moment, the air stopped. Who is he? The army knew right away. There are not many possibilities. Because in Taehyung's life, only one person is always in the know, always sensitive, and always present even in silence. Jungkook. Not once or twice were they caught on camera looking at each other longer than they should have been. Not once or twice did Jungkook seem to know when Taehyung wasn't okay, even without a word. And it's not one or two times that fans have speculated about their seeming closeness being more than just a friendship, but no one ever expected that Taehyung would confirm something. Something he didn't even fully mention directly. But his emotional tremors answered more than words. He used to say, "If it makes you smile, I'll shut up," and I was too cowardly to answer anything back then. The soldier's heart suddenly stopped beating. Jungkook knows, and he chose silence. He chose to hide his emotions just so Taehyung could smile. Is this a sacrifice? Is this some kind of love in its quietest form, without reciprocation, without recognition, just a wound that continues to be kept from bleeding in public? Is this what Taehyung has been keeping to himself? Not because he was ashamed, but because he didn't want to hurt anyone, including the people he cared about most. Why did he choose to reveal it now? Because time is up? Because they've gone too far in their respective paths? Because the distance began to become noticeable, not only physically, but also emotionally. One thing that made ARMY's heart even more uneasy was Jungkook's expression in the last fan meeting before this video appeared. He seemed to smile, but lost his trademark radiance. Even when performing happy songs, the sound feels like a melody that has lost its home. Did he know that Taehyung would speak? Or did the video come without warning? Because just hours after the confession went viral, Jungkook uploaded a story with a photo of an empty night sky and a single sentence that made the entire fandom sob. "I hear you, but I've gone too far." Is this a reply? Is this a form of honesty you don't want to speak in front of the camera? Is this a silent farewell that doesn't have time to be packed with goodbyes? And if that's the case, how could two people who understood each other so deeply be separated just because the world didn't let them be honest? If I could go back in time, I would choose not to be silent. Taehyung's last words in the video were heart-wrenching. This is no ordinary regret. This is a regret that will probably continue to haunt him for the rest of life. The army is now divided. Some try to understand, some reject reality, others begin to rework the narrative of their togetherness over the years. Because it is when their idols express their most personal and most fragile feelings. The world is never the same again. Now the question is no longer, is this about Jungkook? Rather, is it about love that cannot be saved? And if that's the case, do we, as the army, have the right to judge them, or can we just love them silently, the way they love each other?